Now, around the clock, surveillance of friends and children is the new normal for many Aussies as location tracking apps surge in popularity. New research shows parents are going to extraordinary lengths to keep tabs on their kids, even hiding tracking devices in their bags, shoes and clothing.
Meanwhile, 1 in 5 young Aussies say tracking their partner is a normal part of being in a relationship, but experts are sounding the alarm, warning this behaviour isn't always healthy. For more, we're joined by Yasmin London, digital wellness expert and former police officer, Deirdre Brander, child psychologist. Good morning to you. Yasmin, first to you, has this technology normalised, controlling behaviour?
Yeah, look, I think if we start with kids and these sorts of behaviours, we've heard of parents, as you mentioned, about putting trackers in kids' shoes. It's not always just the devices that they use. It can be quite problematic in terms of what is normalised as expected behaviour. We've seen a lot of statistics around those early adult stages where, we go from surveillance to quite problematic behaviours. There might be the inclusion of malware or spyware on people's devices, and we know that there's been recent reports from even the e-safety commissioner that say that 1 in 10 Aussies believe that unrestricted access to their partner's passwords, to location tracking is a totally reasonable expectation. And with younger kids or with younger people, 18 to 24-year-olds, that rises to around 30 to 40%. So I think there's something to think about when we're teaching kids that it's okay to track and what becomes normal throughout the rest of their lives and in their relationships as well.
Yeah, isn't it a lot of it just sort of checking to put the potatoes on, are they caught in traffic? Isn't it just normal everyday stuff though?
I think it depends on the reason, and the person will know the reason. It can definitely support travel. It can support family logistics. As you mentioned, safety is the big ticket item that people keep talking about. But the question is, we've got to ask if tracking and surveillance is actually increasing someone's safety and for kids, their independence, or is it more increasing someone else's rights or control over another person? So it is important in the relationships to have open and honest conversations about the legitimate reasons that you're trying to do that versus something that could be a bit more sinister.
Deirdre, you say parents are outsourcing their anxiety to these apps. What do you mean by that?
Well, of course, parenting involves a lot of uncertainty, and I think for parents, this is a really seductive option to be able to track your child. You know where they are, so that relieves that anxiety. But as Yasmin was saying, that comes at a cost because we're not always sure. We might know where our child is, but we don't necessarily know what they're doing or who they're with. So parents think by tracking their kids, they're doing the right thing, that their child's safe just because they know where they are. And of course, we know that children are very good at technology, probably a little bit better than us. And often what we find is they can be really secretive. When they find out you're tracking them, they'll often leave their phone at their mate's place where they're off doing something else, or they'll just turn it off.
Yeah, that's common.
Yeah.
Deirdre, a lot of people on the text line are saying they are older and their younger family members track them, but it makes them feel safer. Is that a good idea?
Look, that's a really important shift in this technology because we know that children now have phones with this capability. But again, what we're doing is we're using technology to relieve anxiety. That idea of, what if mum doesn't pick me up? What if I miss the train? And having that whole constant mum knows where I am so I can be rescued at every point means that our children are not learning how to solve problems on their own. They're not learning how to ask for help in that immediate moment, when the train's running late or the bus doesn't show up. So it's really important, particularly in this day and age, that we empower our children to be capable and independent. These apps have a place sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah, once you get older, work it out yourself. Like we had to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your time.